Good morning, my name is Irvin A OW, and today I'm here to present my independent study and mentorship research project. I'm a senior here at FHS. Independent student study and mentorship is basically a class where you get selected for and you have to apply for, and you pick a profession of your choice, and then you find people in the Metroplex to interview, and then just like find out more about the profession, and you do research in the class and learn a lot about professionalism, and then you find a mentor, and so you're able to shadow this mentor and also work on a product with them. So you get to learn about a lot about what you're trying to do, and then also find out if that's what you really want to do, or if you want to switch early. A little bit about me before we start. I was born in New York, Brooklyn, New York. I moved to Frisco from Austin when I was 9. I actually moved to Plano before I moved to Frisco, so I was there for a year. And so I've been here ever since. Attended middle school here and all of high school here, and I'm planning to graduate in June. I'm currently a senior at FHS, Frisco High School. I'm involved in different clubs at my school, extracurricular activities, and also involved in community service. Volunteer at Centennial Medical Center a little bit, and also at Prairie Estates Nursing Home. I'm part of a recreational soccer team with my friends. We have like weekly games, weekly practices. Always get to just kind of relax and have fun. I also enjoy working out and relaxing. I think it's always good to have a little me time, a little you time, just to work on yourself or just enjoy yourself. The career I chose for ISM, I chose to do research on orthopedic surgery. The reason I chose orthopedic surgery is because I always knew I wanted to go into healthcare, but I took a class in 10th grade, so that was my sophomore year, and it was called health science, and so we learned a lot about different healthcare professions. And when we were studying the bones and joints, we actually watched this video, and it was this guy who was like painting the ceiling. It was like an animated video. He was painting the ceiling, and then he fell off, and it just showed like all his bones breaking, and then it showed like an orthopedic, the process that it would take to like fix his entire body. It showed screws, and it was like a really cool animated video, and I just thought it was like the coolest thing, and how like interactive it was. And I thought that orthopedic surgery is something maybe I would want to look into, and so I actually decided to study in ISM and find out more about it because it looked so interesting to me. And it's just like a very intensive procedure, and it had like these screws and all these things, and the doctors doing it, and I just thought it was really cool, so that's why I chose this. A little bit about orthopedic surgery. It's a profession dealing with the treatment and surgery of the musculoskeletal system. So this can range from bones in the hand to the spine, the knees, elbow, different things like that, and joints. And can also be a very demanding profession. You're on call a lot, and work long hours, and surgeries can be long too. But I think it's all worth it from what I've seen. And there's approximately 20,500 in the United States. Some fun facts about orthopedic surgery. Texas, New York, and California have the highest number of orthopedic surgeons per 100,000 people, and that would kind of make sense since those are some of the most urbanized states. And orthopedic surgeons perform an average of 32 procedures per month. Surgeons less than 40 comprise less than 15% of orthopedic surgeons. So you can see that most orthopedic surgeons are pretty old, and most orthopedic surgeons work in group practices, and I've been able to see that through my mentor visits, and also interview assessments where I've seen like how they work. And there's also a shortage of joint replacement surgeons in the United States, so different people are needing these type of surgeons. And so what about ISM? My mission statement this year is, in the Independent Study and Mentorship Program, I hope to gain real-world experience and professional communication opportunities in surgical areas by taking all the advice given to me and working hard to reach my goals. I expect to grow as a person in the professional world and build a connection with a surgeon of some sort while using honesty and integrity along the way. I also hope to create a product or idea which will benefit surgeons with product and time management. And so far, I think I've done a pretty good job at this. I've been able to find a mentor. I've been able to do all the work and work hard in this class, and my research assessments, these are basically what we do in this class. We find something that has to do with the profession online from a trusted website, and then you just kind of do an assessment about it so you can learn a little bit more about the profession. The first one we did was a career outlook assessment, and there I kind of learned a lot more about what it takes to be an orthopedic surgeon, kind of the hours they work, how long they have to go to school for, and what types of places they work in, and just kind of more about the profession. And also learned about satisfaction of orthopedic surgeries, and that was an article that it was like a kind of like a research kind of article, and so basically like it was like a statistics sample. They got like a random sample of like 1,000 people that had orthopedic surgeries, and then they asked them to like rate like the overall experience from 1 to 10, and then it also asked them like to rate different characteristics of the surgeries, and they asked kind of like doctor-patient interactions, and then pain and follow-up. And so I learned a lot that one thing that it seemed correlated the highest was the doctor-patient interaction. So you kind of got to see that orthopedic surgery is, you need to be able to talk to people, and you need to be able to communicate your ideas and make people feel comfortable, and that's how you get the most patient satisfaction, which is really important. I also did a research assessment on amniotic band syndrome, and it was on CNN.com. It was a mom, and she had a baby, and the baby had amniotic band syndrome, and she was like really sad, but an orthopedic surgeon was able to do the best he could, and the baby has hands that are artificial. And basically amniotic band syndrome is when the baby's in the womb and it gets wrapped around by the amniotic band, and it messes up how the baby grows and different limbs and things like that. And I also did one on the Boston bombings, orthopedic hero. That was another article on CNN, and it was from the Boston bombings, and how people were injured, and how these orthopedic surgeons came in, they helped even though they were in like such grave danger, because another bomb could have gone off, but they still came in there and did everything they could. So it's also kind of showed you a little about how selfless people in this profession are. I also did one on unsuccessful hand surgeries. There was like a research on how people that had hand surgeries, they weren't working that well. So what that kind of taught me was, the profession is something that is constantly changing, and it constantly needs new renovations, and not everything's perfect, and they're still doing a lot of research in a lot of labs, to kind of find out more about how to help orthopedic surgeries become more successful. And so it's a profession where you have to keep learning. You never stop learning. And also we did one on the UNT trip, got to see some classes at the University of North Texas, and that was really interesting. And my interview assessments, my first one I did was at Children's Medical Center with Dr. Lawson Copley, who's actually now my mentor. He's a pediatric orthopedic surgeon, and he specializes in musculoskeletal joint infections. And so he's actually shown me a couple of videos of that. And whenever the bone gets infected, there's a lot of pus, and he kind of like extracts it from the children, and so it's pretty cool. And from him, I learned a lot about the path he took. He took a kind of different path. He was a philosophy major in college, and he also worked in not the Air Force, but he was an orthopedic surgeon in the Army, and so he also told me that that's a really good opportunity. And so I learned a lot more about how he was someone that could really communicate, and you need to be someone that can talk. And then I interviewed Maureen Finnegan, and she was an associate professor at UT Southwestern, or I think she was actually a professor, like an official professor at UT Southwestern. And she was an orthopedic surgeon, and she worked at the campus, I believe it was in Richardson. And she was from Canada, so I got to learn more about, different healthcare systems, and her opinion on, the Canadian healthcare system versus the United States healthcare system. And she seemed to like the United States healthcare system more, and said that Canada should probably go towards the United States system. Although, we have a lot of problems and, things we're trying to renovate in it, she said that it works more efficiently. And so I got to learn about, more about policy and stuff. And Catherine Coiner, I got to see another perspective of orthopedic surgery. She was an athlete in college. She's like a D1 athlete at the University of Massachusetts. And she said that she really loved orthopedic surgery. I got to learn, more about private practice versus academic practice. She says that she does both. She teaches residents and interns in orthopedic surgery, but she also does private practice on the side. So that was really interesting. And then I also got to interview Frank Gottschalk. He was another professor at UC Southwestern, and he specialized in joints. That's what he mainly does, joints. And he was from South Africa, which was really cool. And so he was educated in South Africa and also did medical school in South Africa. So I actually got to see another perspective. So it was really cool doing all these interviews because, I got to see perspectives from like different paths that people took and from different countries. And, someone joined the Army and someone else did sports. And I also got to see Sean Haslam. He's a doctor at Lone Star High School, and he also works at Centennial Medical Center, and he was also from Canada, and so it was really interesting to see that as well. And he was really nice. He was a very relaxed person. And my mentorship I've been doing with Dr. Lawson Copley. As I've said, he does musculoskeletal infections and works at Children's Medical Center in Dallas. Actually, a couple weeks ago, I was able to watch surgeries after filling out some paperwork, and I got to see 2 surgeries actually. One of them was an exploration because a child had been stabbed with a thorn or something, and the mom thought that the thorn was inside the child, so he was looking for the thorn, but he didn't find anything. So it was good that that there was no thorn inside of the child. And then the other one was a fracture. It was in the elbow, and it took about an hour, and it kind of hurt just standing there, but it was pretty cool to watch. And so he fixed the elbow and fixed the fracture. And I've also been able to watch his doctor-patient interactions. I'm able to watch him walk into a room and talk with the parents and talk about the treatment that the child will receive, or if the child needs treatment. And I've also been able to see how he interacts with kids, which is really fun. He's a very nice person, and also see how he's able to make people feel comfortable. We've discussed the product, and we're actually going to discuss that again on Monday, what officially it's going to be. And he's told me that he wants to take a direction for my product that we're going to take, that we're probably going to go down in improving the quality of healthcare, kind of like an idea. So that's going to be really exciting coming up. And what I've learned so far is, orthopedic surgery is a profession that needs a selfless attitude. You need to be someone that's not really in the profession for themselves, but for other people. It's a demanding profession. Patient satisfaction is critical. You need patients to be happy. And profession changes every day. It changes lives. And I learned more about the workday, academic versus private practice, the different ways you can go into orthopedic surgery. And this is my original work. I actually did a proposal on a way you can go about rehabilitation for a torn ACL, which is a very common injury for athletes. It's the anterior cruciate ligament, and it's in the knee. And when people jump and land the wrong way, they can tear it, and it's really bad, and it takes a long time. And I've heard a lot of people even at this school that have torn their ACL, and so I kind of just gave a kind of situation. And it was a high school basketball player attempts to jump, but unfortunately lands on his left leg incorrectly. His anterior cruciate ligament is torn, and this ligament is behind the knee. He goes to the hospital and finds out he'll be out of basketball for a while, but by following this plan that I've made, progress will be as quick as possible. I've been able to do this with Dr. Copley's help, and also some research that I've done last semester and this semester. The surgery that you'll need is you need to repair the torn anterior cruciate ligament. It's a reconstruction surgery, and you're going to use a graft from the tendon that's usually in the knee, in the kneecap, and you're going to replace the torn ACL. And this is it's kind of long, pretty short though, 60 to 90 minutes. And during month 1 of the surgery, what I've suggested is you'll need crutches for around 2 weeks, but the goal by the end of month 1 is to get off the crutches. Although this doesn't always happen, but you also want to be able to get the knee up to 90 degrees on their own within 3 weeks. The workouts that I've suggested for this month 1 are stationary bike, which is, as there's a picture right there, it's just kind of like a easy way to just kind of get the knee moving a lot, and to have it just constantly working, so that although you're not doing anything too extensive or too hard, you're still working it. And then I also suggested mini squats, which is another workout that, although these workouts are all going to be painful. Rehabilitation is never easy, and so mini squats, just kind of like bending your knees a little bit, that's also good. And mini hurdles, just lifting your leg. You really just want to do things that during that first month that aren't too extensive, but you want to keep working it so that you can get it up to 90 degrees by the end of that month. You also want to do toe and heel raises. And some suggestions that I've suggested for the first month are to keep the leg well rested and make sure not to do anything too extensive. You don't want to do any sprints or squats, things that are really going to hurt your legs, because your knee is still pretty damaged, and you're just trying to get it to heal. And I feel like these workouts are going to help it progress the most during the workload. And during month 2, crutches will most likely be needed. Although every situation is different. So some people will need crutches, some people won't. Some people heal faster. By the end of month 2, the swelling around the knee from the surgery should be reduced, and the ability to straighten the knee should be normalized after 2 months. The workouts I've suggested for this second month were a light leg press and light leg curls. These are workouts that, they're kind of like resistance training workouts, but you want to do them very light because you don't want to damage your knee, re-damage your knee, since it's very sensitive at this point. You also want to do the child's pose stretch daily and lunges. Rehabilitation's hard, so it's going to be painful, but it'll be worth it. Light resistance leg exercises are great, and if able to, light running is really good, just kind of like a daily jog. And you want to give the leg a good 8 hours of rest after exercises. During month 3, the suggestions I have are leg press. You want to do a little heavier, and leg curls. These are going to help. Since you're an athlete, you want to keep your legs still working and developing. And so you can do leg press, leg curls, recline leg raises, and weighted lunges. And by the end of this month, you shouldn't really need crutches, and the swelling should be gone. And then you should have a full range of motion. At this point, your knees healed a lot more since it's been 3 months, and the surgery hopefully has been successful, and you're still talking to your doctor. And the resistance leg exercises are beneficial, but should not be too intense. You don't want to max out on squats, which could really damage your knee. And just light running is a great way to get the motion back, and be sure to rest the legs as needed. For months 4 to 5, crutches will not be needed by the end of month 5, and the athlete will be able to jog without trouble, and legs should feel close to normal, although still you're not ready to go back into the sport that you're playing yet completely. You can still practice with them, but you probably shouldn't do anything too extensive. Single leg cord stretches are a good way to get this going, and it's always good to look up these workouts if you don't know what they are. And step ups, a lot of people do that at the gym. There's a picture there. And walking lunges, those are all good workouts for that. And continued resistance training is important for leg rehab. Daily jogs are crucial to development, and rest is always a good idea. And something that you can see is kind of like a theme throughout the original work is rest. You need rest whenever you tear your ACL. And from month 6 to 7, you can definitely get in and start training with your team, but you probably shouldn't practice with them. The athlete can do full cardio and resistance training, although he doesn't want to do anything too extensive, like I said, maxing out on something with the knees, because that could hurt you again, and you don't want that, because when you hurt it again, it's even worse. And some workouts you can do, just non-playing exercises, anything really, since it's been 7 months since you've torn it. And you can see that the process to rehabilitating the ACL after surgery and you tear it is it's pretty long. And the athlete can do stationary jumps, squats, leg curls, all great exercises to just keep on developing the leg and working out the knee just to get it back to normal. And you should feel pretty normal at this point, but you don't want to do anything that's too extremely extensive, and you also don't want to do anything get into a game, because that could also be too extensive. And then for month 8, which is the last month, you can definitely get in and start practicing with your team again. But at this month, you definitely want to be mindful of re-damaging your ACL. So I've actually was able to make some prevention tips at the end for you during month 8 and forever. You just build core strength with planks. That's a really good way to prevent yourself from damaging your knee, just because the ACL it's kind of tricky, just because it's broken in a lot of different ways, but the way you prevent it from breaking is you just have to practice landing safely and stretching before you play, and just building a strong core so you don't mess up your knee. And also work on balance each day. You always want to keep well rested before you play, and never play. If your knee hurts, you should go to a doctor and not just keep playing on it, because that could be dangerous. And that was my original work, and now I'm going to go into my quote, which is, "We must let go of the life we have planned so as to accept the one that is waiting for us." And that's a quote by a writer, Joseph Campbell. And what that quote means to me is, we all basically kind of have a plan for ourselves. We all just kind of in the back of our minds, we're oh, I want to do this, and I want to go to this college. And that might not always be what works out. And whenever that plan doesn't work out, we get really disappointed and devastated. Like applying to college, you don't get into a college of your choice, or maybe in ISM even, you wanted to get a mentor, but he couldn't be your mentor, and you're sad about it. But from the day you were born, I feel like you kind of had a predestined something that was already waiting for you there, and whatever you end up with is what you'll hopefully be happy with. And even if it's not what you wanted initially, you can see that it could actually end up even being better than what you thought. And so it's just important to always keep that in mind. And when something doesn't work out, don't be too put down by it, because that just means that it wasn't meant for you, and there's something else waiting for you. And that's the end of my presentation.